Hello, everybody. It is me, Briscoe Tuesday, and today we are here talking about that time I got reincarnated as a slime, episode 15. Okay, we got a new intro and a new outro. I'm pretty sure. I haven't really checked because I've only watched the first 11 minutes of this episode, about 12 minutes. Haven't really got to the halfway point yet, but there's a lot to talk about in this episode. There was only like one scene cut from like this whole entire section that was adapted from the source material, which was there probably is a few more scenes, but the one scene that I was surprised by that got cut was Gabiro's like surprise of seeing his father getting like named because he turned purple and stuff like that. But in the manga, when Gabiru saw his father, he was very shocked. He was like, "What happened to him? Did I really like try to take the title of king from this chieftain?" Like, I really wish that that scene was there because it would have been funny seeing him freak out about his dad being like, like very like buff now. I think he was buff before, but it looked like in the manga he changed like a lot. Like he went from like that old man to like a very like tall, muscular dude. So you could see the muscles in his chest, but he pretty much looked the exact same way. So I guess they didn't really like adapt that one too well, or maybe they did. Maybe I need to look at him because it looked like there was a big difference in the manga. But then the new intro, I actually really enjoyed the new intro. I thought that the visuals were pretty cool, and I really liked the song in it. There was only one scene in the whole entire like intro that I was just like, wait, what? Because there's one scene that I saw where they showed a fairy with wings that I guess are a part of the Demon Lord's organization. Where I'm just like, who's that fairy? I've never seen that fairy yet. I guess I need to look ahead in the manga or the light novel because I have no idea who that even is. But there was a lot of like callbacks in the new opening for like further events that are about to happen soon. I could just tell from when you saw like the adventurers, and then you also saw like a new set of adventurers in the opening that weren't just for show. They were just events further in the future. But we saw the alliance, them forming the forest alliance with all of the other races. Or I guess it wasn't really that many races. It's just the surviving ogres, the orcs, the lizardmen, and then goblins, and that's it. They haven't really gotten to the other races yet, which are going to be shown, I guess, sooner. I guess because there has to be more monsters in this forest than just them, so it's gonna be cool seeing that. You also saw how in the opening they showed like the town that Ramiro's in a lot better, or maybe they're in Town. That has to be like the way that the town is gonna turn out because it looks really cool animated. Like it literally looks like every like isekai anime's town is what this town turns into instead of it being just them on like a dirt road and stuff like that. It went from like it's gonna go from like simplistic to advanced pretty quickly. But the alliance scene was pretty cool and really thought out. I really enjoyed it animated, especially seeing Ramiro get perplexed by Trainee, because Trainee like tries to put all the guilt and all the pressure onto Ramiro to be like the leader of the alliance, even though that he has like no capabilities to being the leader whatsoever. And then you saw how he tried to like make it so that way the orcs wouldn't get in trouble, like because he wants everyone to be friends and stuff like that. So then he like accepts them into like the alliance, but the only catch is that they need to work really hard. It's really funny because since I know scenes in the future, he like the even though he asks them to work hard, it's funny what Ramiro says to them later on in the future about them working really hard. And then he saw that Geld, the or what was his name again? Was his name Geld? He got named Geld by Ramiro, the Orc Lord's secretary, or I guess best friend. You would see him. He's pretty much just his secretary. And then he asked the ogres for forgiveness, and then he actually got forgiveness by them, which was because they've been learning from Ramiro a lot. They changed a lot since when Ramiro first met the ogres, since they were just full of anger and stuff like that. But then he made them all calm and wiser than they were before. And then I guess they just are just gonna follow Ramiro to the end. And you saw that Ramiro was watching them. I don't even remember him watching them in that scene. Oh, another thing that I was gonna say is that I don't remember this scene taking place in the Lizardman Chieftain's like cave, because in the manga it looked like they were at they looked like they were like at a different place. Like it looked like they at a different place. So maybe they were in the cave in the light novel, but in the manga it was in a forest. But then in the anime they was in the cave. I don't remember it even being in a cave. Like, I don't remember that whatsoever. And then we saw how Biru got exiled by his father, which was a really short scene, but it was cool seeing how his followers are following him even to the end. I'm still gonna stay by it that even though that they're like a really closed group, his followers are just idiots, and like you could tell that all of his followers didn't stay with him; they just left. Unless those three were his main followers, maybe they were the only three. Maybe the rest of them were there just because of like the chieftain's orders to follow the Lizardman's son. So I guess that's where it is. You also didn't see the daughter there at all. Gabiro's sister wasn't at the cave at all, or maybe she was. Maybe I just wasn't looking. You also saw how Ramiro had to name all the other orcs, and what's funny about that is that I remember, like, I think he might have only done it to goblins, but I think he also might have done it to the orcs, where his naming process is so funny because after a while he just names them very weird names, like he calls them 1A, 1B, 1C, 2A. He just starts telling them like random names. And I think sometimes he just calls them random like just phrases and words. Like it's just really funny that his naming process, how he only names key figures that have to do with the story, but then if they're like some random Joe Schmo, he just names them whatever, which is a funny thing. We also got to see the Demon Lord again. That's been watching Ramiro fight the orc disaster, and then he was like very like you would think that he would be sad from losing him, but instead he's just curious about Ramiro. Uh, it's really weird how his name is Clayman. I'm wondering how that's gonna work with it. He must have powers or something like that. Maybe his name is just Clayman, or he has clay powers. But at first I thought that from the intro, I thought that maybe the clown characters were like underlings to Clayman, but because of like the way that the clown is with the way that he's speaking to Clayman, the Demon Lord, it seems like maybe there's a lot more to them than meets the eye, because I'm pretty sure that maybe they're like above him. Maybe I'm wondering where that's gonna go. But yeah, those are my overall thoughts for the first 11 minutes of this episode, and yeah, I'll be back to review the rest of this in a few seconds. Okay, there's a lot to talk about this episode. So we saw how with the orcs helps. We saw with the orcs helping. That's a sentence sounded really weird. We saw that with the orcs helping out the town is progressing at a very faster rate than it's ever did before because of how strong the orcs are compared to the ogres. Even though that only one of the no, how strong the orcs are to the goblins, because the goblins only one of them is super strong. Even though that all of the rest of them are like super skinny, slightly strong, but only like one of them, only like the Goblin King guy, only he's that strong. But then we saw the town progressing, and then after that we saw how danger approached. King Gazelle showed up again. I mean, you saw how they didn't really mention it, but in the like later on when he got like a spy to spy on Ramiro, I guess the spy is the one that told them that Ramiro is the one that destroyed the orc disaster, and then told King Gazelle. And he saw that there was a bunch of other people with King Gazelle, like his, I guess his secretaries or his like arm dealers or something like that, like his other people in his council, probably politicians and stuff like that. And then he showed up, and then he wanted to see who Ramiro truly was, which I guess is pretty cool how they got like that fighting thing in, or the only way to figure out someone else's personality or their will is to fight clashing swords. You have that in lots of series, especially in, I think they had that in Naruto. I've already seen this scene before because like I read the manga not too long ago, like I said in the earlier parts of my review, where I've already seen this, so I pretty much knew the fight was happening. So then I really enjoyed how they made the fight a little bit longer, because in the manga it was like only like a few pages. They also cut out reaction shots and conversations because Ramiro was looking at all the other monsters and then noticed that Soe and Trainee were really annoyed and very angry that the King Gazelle even showed up at the forest, and thought that it was like weird. And they cut that out. They also cut out how I guess they didn't really cut it out. Like they just figured out how Ramiro was able to fight off against King Gazelle because he could determine that his fighting style reminded him of Hakuro's, which is also the king's trainer, because apparently Hakuro also trained the king, but apparently his sword style is a lot better. So I guess no wonder he was impressed that no wonder Hakuro was impressed that Ramiro was able to dodge King Gazelle's attack, apparently because he's able to like tell that King Gazelle surpassed him somehow. Or maybe he was just being very like nonchalant about it. Maybe Hakuro could maybe face off against the king evenly instead of thinking of him as stronger. They also cut out like the scene where King Gazelle, man, because there's a scene where King Gazelle like shoots out his aura. Because if you saw a few episodes back at the beginning of Slime, how Ramiro was always emitting like a very strong aura, but then the goblins told him about it, and then he concealed it. Because in the fight, King Gazelle shows his aura to Ramiro, and then Ramiro ends up not being able to move his body because he's very shocked by how powerful his spiritual pressure is. It's funny to say that because of Bleach, but and then Ramiro was able to like get out of it because the Great Sage spoke up and then told him that he's able to break out of it by yelling a war cry, which was really funny. I wish they could have added that, but it's really just a not unnecessary scene. But it is a pretty cool scene nonetheless, because it was a cool scene. That I was waiting for that, but it didn't end up happening, and then it just ended up fighting like it did. It just ended up ending the fight like it did in the manga, where he dodged it and then he just won automatically because of Trainee. And then we saw them end up partying together, and then they ended up in the party. King Gazelle ended up telling Ramiro that he would that he wants to be a part of the Federation, like he wants to join up and share trades and share goods and stuff like that. And for both nations to prosper, and then Ramiro ends up gladly accepting it. There was one thing where in my manga review I was saying how I didn't really understand where the naming part of the Federation came in, like the name of the town and stuff like that. It's really weird because I don't think in the manga, I think that it wasn't Ramir that thought of the name, but it was like all of his followers, like all of the ogres and everyone else. But he was the one that named the something Tempest Federation. But then like it was I always forget his name. I already forgot the goblin's name. Rigurd. Rigurd, that's his name, right? Yeah, Rigurd. Rigurd is the one that named like the town after Ramiro, which was very like funny and cool. I was very excited about it. And then Ramiro and Gazelle like shook hands because the deal went through and they're both gonna prosper. And then the episode ended, so that's pretty much all that happened. The ending song I actually really enjoyed, but and it was cool, and I really enjoyed the song and the visuals and stuff like that. But one thing that's weird about the visuals is that it showed the kids that were with Shizuna, Shizue, Shizu. Shizu. Okay, I just remembered her name, Shizu. Because in the ending song, it showed Shizu waking up. It's really weird how the opening ending song they're throwing homages to her so much, and it just makes you feel sad. But it is pretty cool. And then I like it how it showed him with the kids. And I don't know if this is true. People might need to comment it, but are the kids still kids or are they older? Because that ending song made it seem really weird, like a happy paradise ending with things happening. You even saw Milim show up towards the ending where they were cooking food and having like a huge celebration at a waterfall. And I'm just thinking, are the kids still kids? Or are they older? Cause like I guess that's a thing. I guess maybe the kids are still kids, and he ends up like recruiting them or something like that, or maybe they're older and he ends up recruiting them. I might need to have clarification on that ending song, because it might just be alluding to things instead of it showing things. It might just be like a one-off like slice of life ending song that you have right there, or it could be meaning something, but I don't really know. But this episode was pretty good. The foundation is still there, even though that scenes were cut. It is still pretty cool. It still is very the animation is still pretty good, and then the music during scenes are pretty good. The new opening ending songs are pretty good, and like, yeah, I'm really enjoying this. So we only have about like, what was it, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, only 9 episodes left until the ending of this show. And I've really been enjoying it, and I really enjoyed the parts being animated and stuff like that. But yeah, those were all thoughts on this episode. If you really enjoyed this review, then leave a like. If you didn't like this at all, leave a dislike. And yeah, those were more thoughts, and see you guys next week in the next review. Bye.